some concerning-ish reporting came out yesterday from Sean McAdam of Mass Live. We're going to go into both sides. I'm also going to play a little bit devil's advocate behind that reporting as well. But nonetheless, there are some Red Sox fans that are not happy with ownership, as we have not been for nearly a half a decade. So I'm going to ask you this question before we even get into the video. Should John Henry sell the Red Sox? S for sell, K for keep. You let me know down below in the comments, and let's get into today's video. Is it time to panic? Are Red Sox fans on the edge of another full throttle situation this offseason? Welcome in to this edition of the Red Sox Rundown. I am your host, Jack Lauderay. We've got two stories we're going to talk about today, one from Sean McAdam and one from Mark Feinzan on Pete Alonso. But let's start with the report from Sean McAdam. Here's what he had to say in his Some Things I Think column that came out yesterday. He said, according to industry sources familiar with the organization's thinking, the Red Sox are okay going over the first CBT threshold, which is a good thing, set at $244 million for 2026, which would translate to them absorbing a modest financial loss. But with anything beyond that, there's a reluctance to incur bigger deficits. As last season demonstrated, that sort of payroll can enable a competitive team on the field, one capable of qualifying for the postseason. As the Red Sox saw, however, the team's roster was far from top-notch when injuries struck in September. Here we go again. We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived with this reporting, is how some Red Sox fans are reacting to this. I will play a little bit of devil's advocate, though. This is speculation. Sean McAdam, this is a column. He's molding some reporting with some thoughts and speculation and things like that. We're not going to know what the roster truly is until spring training. The winter meetings kick off next week, so moves will start to happen. So while I have a reputation nowadays for overreacting heavily, I'm not going to yet, because we are not going to know at this point what the roster is going to look like. They said they could not spend a lot of money to incur a bigger loss. That doesn't mean they won't. So we'll see what happens. But on the other side, John Henry's treated the Red Sox like a small market team for years now. So why should we expect them to finally go big? You know, they went big a little bit last offseason, signing Alex Bregman. They've signed Roman Anthony, Garrett Crochet, and others to contract extensions, which they needed to do anyways. But we can't continue to let this happen if we want to win a World Series. And we were kind of quasi-promised that they were going to spend earlier this offseason. Craig Breslow said that there would be no parameters as to what they could and could not spend in terms of money. So what is it then? Are we headed toward another full throttle situation? Are they going to surprise us? Is this all a smokescreen? We don't know. Let's take a look at some of the numbers, though. Tyler Milliken had a huge breakdown of all of this. There are 3 tweets from this one specifically. We all know Tyler, very wordy sometimes, but he is one of the best on Twitter. He kind of breaks this down word for word, so just bear with me as we go through the numbers. Just for reference, and he is referencing the article that we just talked about. The Red Sox are currently at $224.99 million. Whatever big bat signing that comes in is likely to push them right up to the $255 million range. $264 million is the second threshold, which it seems like they are not willing to go over. At that point, you still need another bat. You also need left-handed bullpen help, bare minimum. And Tyler is absolutely right. They're going to get at least one bat. We know that for sure. But like I've discussed on this channel multiple times, one bat is not going to do it. Because not only do you now need to replace Alex Bregman, you also still need to replace Rafael Devers. Because as it stands right now, this team is not good enough to contend for a World Series. Are they a playoff team? Maybe. Narvaez catching, Casas at first, Campbell at second, Story at short, Meyer at third. Roman Anthony, Sedon, Willier, your outfield. You've got Duran, Yoshida as your DH. As that stands right now, you can contend for the playoffs. But that's not good enough at all. That's not going to do it. We're trying to win World Series in Boston, not just make it to the wild card round. Like, that was great for 2025. But for 2026, we should be pushing to make the divisional round. We should be pushing to make the ALCS. We should be pushing to make the damn World Series. We should be pushing to win the whole damn thing. And that's been the sentiments all offseason long from Breslow, Sam Kennedy. All of the above is, hey, this was a great stepping off point. This was a great first step in the process, but we're not satisfied. We're not done. Well, that reporting says otherwise. That reporting says we're going to do what we can do until we get to that number, and then we don't want to go over that number. Now, there are avenues to get around that. Shed some contracts. Get rid of Yoshida's contract. Trade Jarren Duran. Move off of some of his money. DFA Jordan Hicks. There are things they can do to offset some of the money that they have owed. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Spend the damn money. We're going to talk more about numbers here in a second. But first, I want to ask you, will the Red Sox spend big this offseason? Y for yes, N for no. I still think they're going to spend. Do I think they're going to spend as much as I initially thought they were? Probably not. But you let me know. Y for yes, N for no. Will the Red Sox spend big this offseason? All right, more from Tyler Milliken. This is the long tweet. This tweet is 3 socials long. So bear with me, folks, as we go into the numbers. Here's what Tyler had to say. Just some numbers to set the scene on this. When the Red Sox went over the luxury tax in 2025, it resulted in about $1 million in penalties. That's according to Alex Spear. If the Red Sox were to go over the luxury tax for a second consecutive year, which it sounds like they're going to do this offseason, there's a 30% tax. It's 20% for first-time offenders. If they were to go $20 to $40 million over the luxury tax, there's a 12% surcharge. That points to the $264 million second threshold that they seem wary of. So, before we move on to the next tweet, $20 to $40 million over the first CBT tax, there is a 12% surcharge. So that's why that $264 million number is so important. That is that second threshold that they do not want to go over because they do not want to incur that 12% surcharge. More from Tyler here. He said, crazy to think that that's stopping them from investing more on this team and acting like they're operating at a loss after bringing in an estimated $574 million, according to Forbes, in revenue in 2024, which should only be higher after a year like 2025, which he's absolutely right about. One more from Tyler. He said the Rangers are in a similar position after going over the first threshold in 2023, then the second in 2024, ending up paying just below $11 million in penalties. They had a luxury tax hit of $268 million in 2024. So you're telling me that $11 million in penalties is stopping the Red Sox from going over that second threshold? That is disgusting, if true. Like Tyler said, $557 million in 2024, which is expected to be more in 2025, and you're not willing to give up $11 million in penalties to go over the second threshold? What are we doing? What are we doing? That's Bush League. And I think Sammy James, who's a great follow on Twitter as well, Red Sox Twitter, had a great point when discussing Dylan Cease. Toronto added the best starting pitcher in the market in Dylan Cease. Who cares about how much it costs them? They got a lot better. Meanwhile, we're talking about how 36-year-old Sonny Gray actually has a good spray chart for pitching at Fenway. Both good pitchers, but there are levels. Teams that contend for the World Series are always out to get better, and they don't care how much it costs. The Mets, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Yankees, always investing money. They don't care how much it costs because they want to push for a World Series. They don't care about a 12% surcharge going over the second CBT. Those are big market teams. They act like big market teams. The Red Sox are a big market team that acts like a small market team that doesn't make any money. $557 million in 2024. More in 2025. You can guarantee it because they were a playoff team. It is not good. My answer on this entire thing, this is how I'm going to wrap it up with a bow. I still think the Red Sox will be active, okay? So I'm going to play that devil's advocate. I don't love the reporting, but we're not going to know until we know, okay? I still think they'll be active, but it might not be the dream scenario that we were hoping for. It might not be what Breslow and Sam Kennedy were promising. And I think we just have to mentally and physically prepare ourselves. We already saw that with the Sonny Gray trade. Doesn't seem like they're going to go after another number 2. I think they are content with Sonny Gray as their number 2. So I think we're going to have to start to come to terms with the fact that this might not be the dream offseason that we initially thought. And it never is. But I expected more than what we're probably going to end up with. Now, what I will tell you is the Red Sox will make moves. They are going to add at least one bat. I can guarantee you that. And when they do, we will make a video. We had the Sonny Gray trade news out less than an hour after it broke. We are 479 subscribers away from our next goal of 8,000 subscribers. And 10,000 subscribers is our goal by opening day. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Do not miss out on any content. When the Red Sox make a move, we will make a video. All right, let's end up with this. A little bit more Pete Alonso smoke. I'm going to get through this one a little bit more quickly, but the Pete Alonso smoke continues. He continues to get linked to the Boston Red Sox. My producer, Brett Alper, who's producing for me right now, sent me this tweet a few days ago. And, just bear with me for a second. I be the gambler, or incarcerated Bob, said on Twitter, breaking. The Red Sox are preparing to make a monster offer to Pete Alonso, and he's leaning towards accepting after feeling disrespected last offseason. Major blow to the Mets lineup if Pete leaves, and a huge addition to the Sox in the AL East. Now, again, producer Brett Alper, who's producing for me right now, is the one that sent me this tweet. I'm being told that this guy's got some scoops. And you might know him. You might follow him. You can vouch for him in the comments if you want to. I'm sorry. I'm not going to believe it until I see it, because I don't know. However, big however here, the smoke around Pete Alonso is very thick right now. Very. Like, unable to breathe because the smoke is in the house and the fire department's on the way, but you can't get out and there's too much smoke. Like, smoke inhalation type thick smoke. Like, Pete Alonso to the Red Sox is, it seems like it's like a fact at this point. And Mark Feinsand added more gasoline to that fire when he put out an article yesterday highlighting the perfect free agent candidate for every single Major League Baseball team. And of course, it was Pete Alonso. Here's what Mark Feinsand had to say. He said, first base was an issue for the Red Sox, who may not be sold on Tristan Casas at the future at the position. Boston wants to add an impact bat, and few players on this year market can have an impact of Alonso, who slugged 38 home runs, 126 RBIs, and an 871 OPS last season. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Pete is a perfect fit for Boston. He would absolutely demolish the Green Monster. He would hit a bunch of home runs. I believe his stats at Fenway are pretty damn good as well. He would be perfect, and he can play first base. I get the argument of, he's not great defensively, but a lot of that is just his range. Like, he's still a relatively good first baseman. He just doesn't have a lot of range. So, he can still do that, and then in a few years, he'll just be your DH. He can just be your next Big Papi. Like, he's perfect for Boston. And this would be one step in a very successful offseason. But I'm not satisfied, as we've talked about throughout this entire video, to kind of wrap this entire video in a bow. I'm not satisfied yet, and you shouldn't be either as a Red Sox fan. People want to get in my comments, mainly on Instagram, but also here on YouTube, and they love to say, you're overreacting. Why are you being so this, that, the other thing? Because I'm not satisfied as a fan. We saw the potential this past season. We saw the makings of a World Series contending team, but we also saw the cracks and the holes that made them not a World Series contender team. It's fairly obvious what their needs are. And I will not be satisfied as a Red Sox fan if they can't deliver. Again, this is a big market team. They should be acting like a big market team. I'm not overreacting by wanting to see my team get better. I'm not overreacting by wanting to see my team actually spend and actually care. Because over the last half decade, we have seen them constantly leave their fans in the dirt. I'm a fan. They've left me in the dirt for the last half decade. It's not good enough. And I would not be a fan if I was not critical of ownership, if I was not critical of the people that were making the decisions. So I'm not satisfied, and you shouldn't be either. Pete Alonso would be a great step in the right direction, but it should not be the only move they make. Where will Pete play in 2026? R for Red Sox, O for other. You let me know. It's hard for me to not say R for Red Sox. Like, the smoke is there, and I do think he wants to be here as well. So you let me know. R for Red Sox, O for other. Where will Pete play in 2026? And again, make sure you subscribe. Join the channel. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I appreciate you all for taking the time to watch today's video. We'll be back in the next few days with another video. We'll also have short form content coming out throughout the week as well. You don't want to miss it with the winter meetings coming up in the next week. There's going to be a lot of news and rumors coming out, and we will cover it for you. So hit that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, go Sox.